Good morning, everyone. The process has begun. I started tearing up the carpeting here in our house and made me think about how tearing up your carpet and remodeling your house is a lot like life. And what I realized is that sometimes there are layers there and we don't know what's underneath it because it was put there before we ever showed up. So we had new carpeting that was put in before we moved in. We had no idea what the floor looked like underneath, and we're thinking about putting, like the wood type floor, but we didn't know what to expect, what was underneath. I know that when we were walking on it, we could feel things that were uneven. And I, found where there's little bumps in the floor where they didn't bother to, really clean up. There were little chunks of tape and paint, chunks of carpeting that had paint on them. So anyway, and I also didn't realize when they were gluing things, they put the glue down pretty much only where there were seams on the floor. There's also areas like right here where there's like a hole kind of, and so I don't know how this process is all going to work when we put new flooring in, or if we can even put new flooring in. Part of it's going to depend on how level the floor is. So all of those things got me to thinking about how it's like our life. We had things programmed in our subconscious mind that were there before we were even aware of what was going on. And according to Marissa Peer, Bruce Lipton, all those great, amazing teachers out there, they talk about how we are programmed for the first 7 years of our life. And when that stuff is there, we don't know. And the only way to know what's there is to reveal it and, uncover those layers that are there before we know what's in there. And sometimes things can have happened in life that people may never fully uncover those things. And it's because it was so traumatic and so deep that it was too painful. I was speaking with a friend the other day. She decided that she's going to do some hypnosis. I think that's a great idea, that you go through going back in your mind into those places that you consciously don't know what in the world was in there. So I think hypnosis is great. I think listening to hypnosis, there's so many hypnosis programs out here on YouTube, and I have found that I have the greatest improvements in life when I am consistently listening to those at night before I go to bed. Because when you're listening to something and you're conscious, for me, my mind starts going different places. Excuse me, it's morning yet. And then I start to analyze things or think about things, or I start thinking about something else. Oh, I got to tear up the carpet today. So it's best, I find, to listen to those subconscious things when you're going to sleep. Now, of course, you have to find a source that you trust, because, somebody could be putting subliminally in there, hopefully not, buy my program, buy my program, buy my program. I don't know if anybody, hopefully people that are putting wonderful content out on these channels, YouTube, Facebook, all of that, they're not going to take advantage, but you never know. So you have to really, I would suggest listening to the whole thing before you listen to it at night, so you at least know consciously what's going into your subconscious. The other thing that I was thinking about too is that, it is uneven. This floor, There are little glitches in there that may have to be patched up before we can put flooring down. If we put flooring over those little holes, we're going to have, the flooring may start to show that underneath. So what is underneath, even though we try to cover it up, may still show up on the surface. I know the floor that I did in the hallway in our home in Mankato, Minnesota, for those of you that aren't familiar with Mankato, there were places where it wasn't really fully even, and it was the type of flooring that took on the shape that was underneath it. So if you have things that are buried deep, they're still there, and the only way to get them out is to pull that flooring up, remove what's in under there, smooth it out, and then go ahead and put your flooring back over, and then it's not going to show those blemishes. You can try to hide it, but it's still there. So we can find, at least I do, I don't know if anybody else's brain is wired like mine. Bless you if your brain is like mine. I see things, I see lessons, life lessons in so many things that I'm doing when I'm out in nature, and just like tearing up the carpet. Who would think, oh, there's a life lesson in this, but they're out there everywhere. And I just thought, I'm gonna get on. I haven't showered, I have no makeup on, all the blemishes on my face. I don't care. You know what? I'm 52 years old. I need to stop caring about what other people think, stop caring about what other people say, and just do what I need to do. Oh, and my shirt. Seriously. Yeah, seriously. Because I feel like Edison, when he was inventing the light bulb, I have tried so many different things, and they've not worked to this point. And I've got myself on YouTube, I'm on podcasts, I'm on Facebook, and I really, really, really hesitated to join this new thing called Clubhouse. So I thought, oh great, now I'm in something else. But I tell you what I have discovered already with Clubhouse is that I'm able to connect with people, and it's on a different level. It's really, really interesting that it's a totally different level that you can connect with people. And I've only been on like 3 or 4 days, and I've been tuning into Chris Delaney and his morning meditation, which is fabulous. So if you want an invitation to Clubhouse, I've been allotted 2 invitations and would love to invite you if you want to contribute to Clubhouse. But when I was on there this morning, I joined their meditation, there was a little invite that showed up and said, be invited to be a speaker. And I hesitated because there was 2 options. There was one option that said, maybe later. And then the other option that was like, yeah, go ahead and be a speaker. And I've had this thing where I just get ready. I get an idea, I get on, I create an amazing website. And then I put some content on the website. And then I maybe don't get that website uploaded to all the different formats that I'm on because I haven't been consistent and put it on there. I get an idea like, oh, I'm going to start this channel called The Spark, Igniting Your Passion to Live Your Life Purpose. And then I go out and I start that. I actually started that like 4 years ago, but the consistency wasn't there. And I say wasn't because this just has to start happening for me. I'm 52. I'm approaching where my life is half over if I live to be over 100. I may not, but that's my plan, is to live to be over 100 years old. So if I do, I'm approaching that halfway point at 52. So I have learned a lot in the last 52 years, and moving forward, I just need to put all of that learning into some action. So I've got all these things, YouTube and Facebook, and what came out, I've been trying so hard, I feel like, to fix everything and make it great and make it wonderful, but I get so caught up in the minutia sometimes that I don't know. It's a weird situation. But the theme that kept coming up and coming up was just do whatever feels right, and people will find you. Put the content out there that you want to share, and people will find you. But be consistent about it. And I know that consistency is so important. But because of my squirrely brain, I've not been consistent. And hopefully, by connecting with you out there watching and tuning in, that you expect that I'm going to be here, and I want to be here for you. I don't want to disappoint you. It's really not about me. I love doing things for people, which is, I think, why I've always been a very successful home care, providing home care to people, because I really treat them like I would want to be treated if I were in their situation. And it was a hard lesson to learn. But the people, these people have some major challenges. And I know that in a video that I actually took down a while back, I had shared a story where I was going to, I got called into work, my daughter and I, who is now going to be 30. She was, I think, around 3 years old, and we were going to go to do something that day. I can't quite remember what it was. And I got called into work because this guy's person didn't show up to help him get out of bed, and he was quadriplegic. So for those of you that aren't familiar with the term, paralyzed from the neck down, which means no use of the hands, no use of the legs. He could talk, couldn't breathe on his own, so he had a breathing machine. And he needed somebody to get him out of bed. So I went to work, and I told my daughter I'm going to need to go in and help him. And I remember standing at the door, and she was looking up at me with those big brown eyes. She's got brown eyes too. Everybody tells her she looks a lot like me, so sorry, Brittany. Oh, I love you. So she's looking up at me, and she said, "Mommy, do you care more about that guy than you care about me?" And I've shared this story recently, so it doesn't bring up the big emotions like I have had in sharing that story. And for many years, that just weighed heavily on my heart. But what I realize now is that it taught her to, a strong work ethic. And both of my daughters have a very strong work ethic, and I'm so proud of them for that. But I also want them to be creating the life that they want. And I know my oldest daughter's doing that, and I think my youngest is doing that too. But anyway, I've been talking. I hope I've been making sense. I started out talking about the floor and the life lessons that we can learn, but my brain just goes where it goes, and I appreciate those of you that follow and listen for that nugget of something that I may say that might trigger something inside of you to do something different or have something different or whatever the case may be. I've got to get back to tearing up the rest of the flooring so that we can figure out what we're going to do for floor. I hope we don't have to put carpeting down, because in Tucson, Arizona, the fine dust around here makes it so difficult to keep carpeting clean. Anyway, I thank you for tuning in, and remember, you've got to get down deep into those layers that you may not even know are there in order for the real, true healing to begin. That's where this video started, and I wanted to end it with that idea. So thank you so much for being a part of this little side note, journey, story, whatever that you want to call it. I'm working on, and when I say a lot, and so I have a tendency to do that in my videos. I appreciate it for those of you that share that with me, because that feedback that feedback is appreciated, because I want to continue to grow, and my ultimate goal is to be standing on stages and sharing stories with people that change their life for the better. So thank you for tuning in. I hope that you have a magnificent day, and I will see you in the next video.